Hello.
That's right. He was saying he would do to me. Because I work with the kid, he taught me to fucking death. I be tired.
We're just going to give everybody else a couple more minutes before we begin. I don't know. I guess it's about 8 people, so I mean, that's kind of usually the average we have. So if people want to join in after, I guess we can have them join after. So we can start. I guess today we're going over experimental design. So I think that's section B on the task list. Does anybody have like any questions to start off with? Yes, no? Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure that I'm not just talking to myself. Yeah, I don't know, like, I know this was requested by someone, so we just want to make sure that if there are questions on this to be asked now for clarification. Oh, and actually, just to start off, we have a little disclaimer. Remember, we're all students. We obviously, like, we don't have all the information always. This is just to create discussion. We are not going to be bringing up any exam questions or anything that is not, I guess, related to just like open discussion. So like avoid, sorry, I have it on here. Sorry guys, give me a second. Oh no. Yeah, we just have to be careful with what we share. I'm sorry, I have it in here. I just complained. It's been a week. It's been a long January and a weird start to February. So, yeah, just basically like, please don't don't share any specific questions for any like things that are not like inside the Cooper book or inside the like the free resources we have, whether we've taken in classes. We are not trying to get in trouble with the board, so we want to make sure that everything that we talk about is confidential and like it is all based on open discussion of possible like things we've read in the Cooper book or things that we've kept on from like our past experiences without exposing a lot of information about clients that we've worked on. So like not include obviously specific client names or situations, to be as vague as possible with the information, but also not sharing things that aren't without giving credit to the people that we are getting the information from. So just be aware of that. Like if you have something that you found really cool on Pinterest, you're like, oh, this would be very fun for everybody to try. Just make sure you give credit where it's due. And also like, don't share things like, oh, I downloaded this like file that you could, save you $300 on. Like, be careful with how you share things because we don't want to get in trouble with anyone. I think that was basically it on it. Oh yeah, like don't ask no specific questions from tests should be discussed. No specific questions from paid resources will be discussed. Like again, no specific information about the clients will be shared. Like this is all created for like students by students who want to pursue the BCBA, BCABA certification. So like none of us are BCBAs or BCABAs. So just like be aware of that and kind of like it's more of a don't come at us if something sounds wrong because we're all students, we're all learning together, rather than like being angry about something we say that might be wrong. Like be more constructive about it and say like, hey, you mentioned this and this wasn't appropriate, like this was a better way to go about it. Yeah, so that's basically it. Just wanted to get that out there. All right, so we can get started now. And then this is also recorded, just so you guys know. And if someone's like not okay with this being recorded, please let us know now, or hide your face if you don't want your face to be shown, so that it's more comfortable. All right, so does anybody have any specific questions on experimental design?
Unless someone else has something, do you want to start with something, Daphne? Or?
Yeah, I mean, does anybody want to clarify like withdrawal reversal designs? Like when would they be best used? Maybe that could start off some, because I know those are two that like get really confused by people when they like when to use them. Like when is it appropriate to use a withdrawal design versus a reversal design?
So is the reversal the ABAB and then the withdrawal no, they're both
the same thing, I think.
They're both ABAB, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess like maybe when is it appropriate to use like multiple baseline, I mean, and withdrawal design?
Yeah. I'm having problems with multiple baseline. There's 3 different types of multiple baseline. There's the regular multiple baseline, there's multiple probe design, and then there's delayed multiple baseline. I'm looking at the graphs right now and they seem very similar. I know that the multiple probe, they're saying that the dots don't connect, but I'm wondering if someone knows why, because I'm looking at an explanation here and I'm not looking at the Cooper book. I don't have it with me right now, but I don't see any explanation as to why the dots don't connect. Does anybody know?
Yeah, hello everyone. I have for the multiple probe design, the reason sometimes we do multiple probe rather than multiple baseline to minimize the also minimize the frustration. Like assume that like you are a student and someone called you and take a baseline for like 15 sessions. That's frustration and like you may withdraw from the study. So to minimize this, we do multiple probe design. So the difference between them is in the baseline itself, not in the intervention. The intervention looks the same in the intervention phase, but the baseline is different. The multiple probe, it's gonna be like not connected. you will see them, and multiple baseline. Now, session by session, we collect data. The delayed baseline, you will see for the second and third participant, we don't collect data at the beginning, and we collect at the end of the baseline. We collect data. This is the difference that I know.
Okay. So between the three, the only difference is the baseline.
Yeah, you will notice the difference. Yeah, in the baseline itself, not in the intervention.
Not in the intervention.
Sometimes in the intervention, I can also like collect 5 data points and then stop for two sessions and then collect data. That's fine, even in multiple baseline or multiple probe. But the difference is in the baseline itself. You will see the difference between multiple baseline, multiple probe, and delayed. In the baseline itself, you will notice the difference.
And the reason the dots aren't connected is because you're not continually collecting data.
Yeah,
you're probing at different times.
Yeah, to minimize like frustration, the participants' frustrations, and minimize the practice effect. Some skills, when the students practice them, it's gonna be like has an effect, and this is a compounding variable. For example, if like repeated reading, if I let the students repeat repeat the passages again and again and again, when he get to the intervention, his reading like automatically improve. So we minimize this like by just doing a multiple probe design.
Okay.
I found that with multiple probe, it's also used to like see how well the treatment is going. So you might use like a multiple probe to see like what is it? If you've reached like that criterion level. So sometimes for like maintenance, like the way that the multiple probe design will look, it'll be like baseline and intervention, and then like a follow-up or a maintenance, or kind of like an after the intervention. So that's a multiple probe because you want to see like whether the intervention was successful after after it was moved from like intervention into a maintenance phase. Whereas like multiple, which one was it? You said multiple baseline with delay? Delayed
multiple baseline, yeah.
So delayed multiple baseline, you only use it, it's good to use if you are starting clients like late. Like if you want to take data for stimming behavior for one client, and you're like, oh shoot, like I have another client 3 weeks or 2 days after my intervention. Well, then you use multiple baseline with delay to start up that second client. Or when new behaviors start approaching. So you start taking data on a client who initially you wanted to take data on his head banging. Okay, well like now because you start taking in data on that 2 days after, you're like, oh, well now I see that he also pinches. So now you're starting to take baseline on that. So it's more of like if new behaviors occur, if you want to take in a new like subject in your study, or if like a new environment, yeah, so that's when you'd use them. Like if there's been an addition to something and you can continue to take baseline without having to start everything over and do it all at the same time.
Okay, so let me ask you a question, and just to clarify, because I'm trying to think about it in my brain. If I had 3 clients, I'm using delayed multiple baseline. If I had one client on the first one, then another one on the second one, and then the third one, I had another client. And I take data for the first client, to take data for 4 days, for day 1, 2, 3, 4 for the first one, and then on the second one, I take data for day 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then on the third one, day 8, 9, 10, and 11. Is that the proper way to do delayed multiple baseline?
Yes.
Okay, so it's continuous. It's just one after the other. For base.
Right. But again, like if there's a question that might come up, like if it specifies something like, oh, like obviously like I've never taken it before, so I don't know if this is how they'll phrase it. But if you might see like a lot of what the delayed baseline symbols is that like if you are starting a new subject after you start the intervention, or if you find a new behavior after you started the graphing for baseline and intervention. Like that's how you know it would be with delay.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
All right. I think I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know more, but about the reason why multiple probe was not the dots were not connected. But now I get that. I understand. Thank you.
Can I ask one question here?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So as you discussed about the behavior, can we do as per the setting as well? So example for rather than you said like 1, 2, 3 days we recorded one behavior, then 4, 5, 6 days we recorded the another one, and then 7, 8, 9 we recorded something else. So can we do for the setting as well? Like rather than the behavior, we are 1 day we are collecting data, and 2 days or 3 days we are collecting data at the mom's home, then the dad's home, and then the school. It will be the same way.
I'm not sure. Let me read really quick and see if I find anything on that, and then I'll get back to you.
Okay, thank you.
So for delayed the multiple baseline also, like assume that you have a 3 participant in your study, and the third one is like withdraw from study, like they traveled, their family traveled, and you have only 2. So you need to add the third one to show experimental control, because in multiple baseline or multiple probe delayed multiple baseline, you need at least 3 participants to show experimental control, and this is very important question. You have to know it. So so if you have like 3 participants and 1 withdraw, the third you want to bring a new students and do just delayed baseline for him. You don't need to start over again. Just do delayed baseline for him, and then for 3 sessions maybe, and then start the intervention with the third participant.
Okay.
Is there somewhere that you guys have made like a document of what we're going to talk about each week, or like what the order we're going to go through things?
No, we're taking it 1 week at a time. I mean,
Okay.
if you guys have any
did you already discuss Jay before? Because I saw some comment. I was trying to figure out if it was discussed or someone just talked to someone else about something on Jay.
No, we didn't talk anything about Jay. There was someone that asked a question about Jay on the group, but it was just spontaneous.
Oh, just a speaker. Okay. That's what I was trying to figure out the difference. Yeah. I was like confused. I'm like,
No. But if you guys ever have any suggestions or anything that you feel that we should talk about, we can do it next week if it's something that's important to you.
Okay.
On another section of the task list.
Hello, everyone. My name is Abdul. I just joined the session. It's my first time joining, so good to talk to you all. Thank you.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
Thank you.
Hi. Hey, with regards to the delayed multiple baseline question, I found, well, I'm reading on like Quizlet, but I'm trying to find it on Cooper. And what the person put down was that it says a variation of the multiple baseline design. So the initial baseline and perhaps intervention for one behavior, subject, or setting, and subsequent baselines for additional behaviors are begun in a staggered or delayed fashion. So I'm going to say yes. Like multiple baseline design in and of itself is based off, like it could be based off like different, it's across or can be across multiple behaviors, subjects, or settings. So that's why I'm going to go with yes to the delayed 2, that if you are taking data in one setting and you're then taking data in another setting and then taking data in another setting, like it works the same way.
I think the only thing you can't do is not have different treatments. You have to have the same treatment. Right.
That's the only thing. And it can't be like, it's not considered multiple baseline if you're not tracking the same thing. So you can't say it's multiple baseline if in one graph you're checking behavior, in another setting, in another, a different person. Like they all either have to be across settings, across behaviors, or across subjects.
Right. Exactly. Does anybody else have questions on this topic? No. Daphne, do you want to move back to withdrawal and reversal?
Let me see. Yeah, I guess like when would it be best to use a withdrawal or a reversal this time? Like if someone has an example of like an example they can think of for that specifically.
Do they have those listed together on the task list or separate?
Yes, so it's task list B. So withdrawal designs is B04, and it is use withdrawal / reversal designs.
Okay, because I thought someone told me because they're on the same line, they were considered the same thing to the board.
They are. I mean, some people call
Okay.
them withdrawal designs, some people call them reversal designs. I just want an example of that one specifically.
Okay. I just was curious if that's what other people thought, because that's what I was told by somebody else. So, since they're on the same line, they were supposed to be in the eyes of the board the same.
I wish I had my Cooper book here, but I remember something about and I think I read it on Cooper, but I might have read it in Mayer about there being a slight difference between both of them.
Well, there is a slight difference between them. Someone had told me that and I think it was the BCBA, that because they're on the same line, that means they're considered the same thing in the eyes of the board. But that I don't know if they knew what they were talking about or not. So
Something about them
but when it
switching.
came to yeah.
Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say that they just told me, yes, it's good to know the difference between them, but it wasn't necessary for the exam. Put it that way.
Okay. Because I read something more on there, something about them switching back to previous conditions back and forth. And then the other one, just removing a part of the condition. One moving the entire condition, and then the other one just one small part of the condition.
Can you repeat that again, Damien, please? You said you saw one with what?
So I don't know which one's which, but I do remember reading, and I have it on my notes here, on one of them removing part of the entire treatment, just one part of it.
Oh, that's.
And then the other one switching back and forth the entire condition, like completely going back and forth, but the entire condition is going back and forth, and the other one is just a part of it.
I think that's parametric and non-parametric designs, or parametric or I don't know pronunciation. Not key with ABA necessarily. I think you're talking about parametric because with parametric designs, you or like with non-parametric, you take. It's like an on and off switch. You take off the intervention or put it back on. With parametric design, it's kind of like it's like, I don't know if you gave this example last time, but it's kind of like testing out dosage of medication. So you see like how much of it is needed. I don't know if this is what you are talking about or if you're talking about something completely different.
I wrote withdrawal and reversal. But I have to check it on Cooper because I don't know if maybe I got it from Mayer.
Okay.
I just have some notes in front of me and I read it off what I got, where I got it from.
Because what I have for withdrawal designs, withdrawal / reversal, is that like you have a baseline and then intervention, and then you have another baseline, and then obviously after you see a stable trend, you put in the intervention again. And this is just to see if there's like a functional relationship between the baseline and the intervention. And that's why it's withdrawal. But I'm not sure if reversal is an AKA. Does anybody know, or is everybody just as confused as we are? Because it's awfully quiet on this side. I'm just wondering if like it's the same, or if someone's like, oh yes, it definitely is withdrawal reversal, or like someone's like, no, I definitely read it was different, because then that would give us a little bit more of an insight.
I know there's different types of reversal designs. There's 5 different types. I don't know if that makes you more confused.
Well, what are the 5 different types? Do you know them?
Repeated reversals, the BAB, which is for severe behaviors, the multiple treatment design, and the NCR reversal technique, and then the DRO, DRI reversal technique.
I'm gonna look into Cooper and see if I find it.
And the biggest one that's different is, well, I guess they're all a little different, but the one that's the BAB reversal is used, like I said, for severe and dangerous behaviors, because you don't have time to do a baseline. So you start with treatment, you go back to baseline, and then treatment. And the multiple treatment reversal is where you use more than one type of treatment. So it might be ABAC, ABAC, or it might be even ABCD, ABCAD. And then the other ones are when you use it with the non-contingent reinforcement instead of baseline. So you have a baseline, but then you don't go back to baseline. You just
Perfect. So I found it in a Cooper book. It's page 197 on the Cooper book for those of you that are participating and are looking inside the Cooper book. So again, it entails like the repeated measures, initial baseline, an intervention phase, and then a return to baseline. And it's usually like an ABA design or an ABAB design. And like you mentioned, there's also like the variations of the ABA design, which would be like the repeated reversals, BAB design. And then there's a section back here of the withdrawal design.
What page did you say it was on?
197 on Cooper.
Okay. Which version? What?
I have the 2nd edition.
Wow, that's what I have too. Okay.
I have it on page 198, so they have the summary.
Oh. And they go through the different types that I just read off of notes. Yeah, that I read off of notes. So I wasn't reading from the book when I read it. I was reading from notes.
I guess my question here is the withdrawal design different than the reversal design? Does anybody know?
According to the past BCBA, most literature uses it as an AKA, but I guess it's not conclusive.
Yeah, because it doesn't it doesn't say like it's an AKA for it, but I can't find like a section of just the withdrawal design. Like it sounds like it's just maybe.
I know we're supposed to only use the Cooper, but if you have that, I can tell you what page it's on that you're supposed to read. I have where it tells you right off the bat what the difference is. Well, in the past, the big ABA doesn't really say there's a difference, but it explains it. Do you have that, Daphne, or no?
Yes, I do.
It's on page 157.
157.
Yes, and it's basically saying what she said. They're basically saying it's the same thing. That's an AKA, but they have like 3 bullet points on it. So,
Oh, I see what you mean.
because I was looking for it for a while.
Oh, so I guess it's a term of like taste, like when you want to use the term reversal and when you want to use the term withdrawal.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. It clears a lot.
Yes.
Because what
They
I'm finding
say
in a lot of
people
the
use it they said they use it in studies, like as a synonym.
okay, sorry guys, really quick. For some reason, it's telling me that it's going to end in 10 minutes. If it does, and we want to continue discussion, then we can, I can restart another one. Just so you know, if it shuts down on me, like all of a sudden, that's why. Yeah, but what I've noticed in a lot of the practice exams, which was something that I was talking to one of my friends, is that like if you know the AKAs, well, I like at least in the mock exams that I've noticed, is that like they'll have the AKAs as part of the option. So like we know, let's say withdrawal design and reversal design are the same thing. Like they'll ask a question and the options are I don't know, blank design, withdrawal design, reversal design. So like they'll put 2 things that mean the same thing, but for some people that didn't study the AKAs will mean something complete, or will think they mean something completely different. And that way, like it cancels out things if you know the AKAs. So things if you're like, oh shoot, these 2 things mean the same thing. Clearly this can't be it. So I found that to be kind of helpful for when I've been taking mocks. So the AKAs are important, clearly.
I think there's a free, but I don't know if it was Bill's or not, but there was a free AKA one. Like you could actually take an exam and that's all you're working on is AKAs.
Oh, in the study group, right?
Yeah, in the study group, but I know people keep saying bills are up, bills are not up. So I don't know. I don't know if he's the one that did it or, I mean, I haven't done it. I'm just saying it exists out there and it's free.
Yeah, those are
Do
pretty
you all
good.
know how many types of reversal designs are there? Or because I'm seeing an example, there are like multiple types of reversal designs. Example.
I read off 5 different types that were, but like the DRO, DRA, DRI were all clumped together. So if you want to count those separately, then there's more, but they follow the same rules. So
What about like ABA, ABAB, BAB, BABA, ABABAB?
I think that's just the repeatable reversals. I might be wrong, but I think that's just the first one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you're asking, but those are all reversal designs.
Yeah.
Just because I feel
those
like with
are different types.
well, they're all under reversal, yeah. So the fact, so you just like you have, you know, the very it says here it's like an experiment entailing one reversal design is described as ABA. That means there's one reversal only. There's only one reversal because you only go back into baseline and take away the intervention once. And the more reversals, or I guess the more letters there are included, the better the data you have, because there are more reversals and then there's more of an opportunity for you to show that there is I guess like replication and more, I guess, validity or believability in your study.
And somebody told us, another group, and this makes sense why she said it. I don't ever get it confused, but to remember that A is your baseline, not B, because B goes with baseline. Like the letter sounds like it should go with baseline, but A is always your baseline.
Yeah, just think about it. It's like it's the first letter in the alphabet, and what's the first thing you need to do before you start an intervention? You need to take baseline, unless it's a BAB because the
behavior
severe, right?
So like head banging, you wouldn't want to just continue to wait. And the other type of reversals that the guy that you were talking about was they have more letters in it. They would be like A, B, C, D, and then A, C, B, D, or something like that. But that means they're including different types of treatments in there, and that's the multiple one.
Yeah. In Cooper page number 181, they mention it multiple treatment reversal design.
Which edition do you have of the book?
I have to check. Mine is second edition.
What page again you said?
It is 181. And you will see all these ABC, AC, BC, AB, ABC, BC, ABC, BC, BC, all kind of treatment designs are together. They mentioned it is a multiple treatment reversal design. Page number 181, chapter 8.
Multiple treatment design is an AKA for reversal design.
Multiple treatment reversal design, yes.
It is an AKA.
It is the AKA for what?
For reversal design.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I don't know. It is a AKA for that. Okay, so you know that. Okay, I'll add it.
Yeah, it's just under that umbrella of reversal designs. Yeah.
Okay.
But 180 is the page that starts on the second edition talking about the variations of a reversal design.
Yes, you're right. Variation of the ABAB designs. And as you explain us, so many reversal designs are there. All are there, one by one. Repeated reversal, ABAB design, multiple treatment, reversal, everything is mentioned here.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for giving that information. NCR reversal design, and then but only one thing is different, DR reversal technique and DRI, DRA reversal technique. For that, they use the technique word. That's all. Yes.
Okay, I guess that answered my question. That was pretty good. Thanks, guys. Does anybody have, we have like 2 minutes on here. I mean, does anybody have like additional questions? I just want to make sure that if somebody is like, I need to get this and like, I need to get it now.
Basically, I'm struggling with the memorizing advantages and disadvantages. So anyone have anything for that? Some visual or something? Or any page number specific what I should study?
For what exactly again? I'm sorry.
Basically, I'm struggling to remember like what is the advantages and disadvantages of any of the like for the reversal, for multiple baseline, for anything, all these kind of designs. I just need help on to understand disadvantages and advantages. So if you have, the number, page number, or any visual, you can share with me.
I think for a lot of these, this is kind of like just a side note. I think for a lot of these, they're hard to remember. Like for me, it also takes a while. And a lot of it's because it's like memorization. It's not like I haven't found like a fun way to remember. And I know there are a lot of like resources out there, but what you can do too, is with your phone, record parts of these and like listen to them while you're like on your car, because you can use a recording app or like a thing inside your phone to record some of these so that you can listen to these often. I know it's helped me a little bit. So that's how I have been working on that.
Does Bill have a visual on the designs? Because that's what I'm looking to right now. Because his stuff is free, so.
I don't know, because he took it down, remember, from Facebook for a little bit, because somebody.
Yeah, I know. It goes back and forth. I just printed mine this summer, so I have the stuff, so.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I'd be like,
but if he puts them back up, I would get Bill's visuals because I'm looking at it right now, and he says how to discriminate between them. So he has how to know the difference between them. So he doesn't have exactly the disadvantages, but he just is telling you how to know when you're some information under each one. So he does have them. And he has a